Well, greetings, friends. What's it all about? This is Robert Gums bringing you the Concerned Forum here in Manhattan on a nice, rainy Saturday afternoon. So, where are we? And where are we going? Well, if the attorneys for the Southern District of New York are correct, we might be losing the mayor to the hoosgow, as they used to say. However, we always have to remind ourselves, in America, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So let's see what's going on. Now, of course, our governor can preempt that whole deal by asking the mayor to step down. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, let's look at our election cycle. All right. Unfortunately, I think we are about the only Western democracy that our election season is really, about 2 years? And that gets to be a bit tiresome. Now, this election cycle that we're in now, it's, to me, we should do it like this all the time. It should be this short as it is, because of Uncle Joe Biden stepping down, God bless him, it's a much shorter season. When did all this start up? July? Okay, July to November. I think that's more than enough time for an election on the national level, quite frankly. This whole thing about billions of dollars being spent, and don't get me wrong, I'll tell you straight up, I'm pulling for the vice president and for the coach. I hope they make it. But aside from that, this whole idea about spending billions of dollars for an election, we got to do something different, folks. Maybe the next election, national election, certainly by the one after that, we have to do something different. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And somebody pointed out something to me the other day also. We have been the light of the world when it comes to democracy. Yeah, I know. Vietnam, some things that happened in Africa, the Middle East, I understand that. But overall, if I were from another planet, which some people think I am, but if I really were, I was looking at Earth as an outsider, uh, I would look at America as being the premier nation when it comes to democratic norms. Okay. As a matter of fact, one of the problems with the way that we do democracy is that we have turned campaigning. It's a whole industry in itself. You know, the media benefits from it, the think tanks, event coordinators, PR firms. See, so somehow, like I said, we got to balance this damn thing. But that's for another time. Now, I am a little bit, I'm a little bit ticked at some of the media. Let me tell you why. I grew up, I'm over 50, so you might understand when I say I love the media, okay? I don't love the hate media that you find on these things and on, your computers and what have you. But overall, I'm a media person. I love the media. And I tell you why. Because media, just like Martin Luther King said, the media was able to open up this country's eyes, to get this country woke. Hear that, Republicans? Woke. Woke is a good word, right? The media was able to go into America and show us all, hey, listen, we're supposed to be a democracy, but look what's going on in Mississippi. Look what's going on in Birmingham, Alabama. Look what's happening in the suburbs of Chicago. The media was the one that began to open our eyes. So if Republicans always want to cry about where wokeism comes from, it comes from the media, thank God. Because people have to see what's going on. They have to see the problem so they can do something about them. Also, it brought us into the reality of Vietnam, see? And that was tragic, but it was something that had to be done. People, if you're going to have a free nation with free people, you gotta have a media, right? That's not to say that it's okay for media to lie to the American people, okay? I think that's one of the things that has happened to a point, because, you know, you have these wild stories, and then of course you have people like Elon, what's his name, Musk or whatever, and Trump, and they, you know, print these stupid lying stories, and that's bad. I think that those, you know, when you come across things like that, a good media environment is one in which you're able to separate, as they say in the Bible, you're able to separate the wheat from the chaff. And that's something I believe that we need to work on in this country. I'll tell you something funny, or maybe I should say interesting. When you go overseas, pick up a magazine, same magazine, Time, even when you had Life out there. If you pick it up and say Germany, English now, the English, you know, English translation in Germany, right? It's not the same as the one that you pick up in New York. A lot of the times the stories are different. They emphasize different things. It's very strange. And see, I think that that's something that we have to deal with. You know, the Republicans try to put out this nonsense. They made it seem like all blacks, especially black men below the age of 35 or 40, right? They're on Trump's bandwagon. I don't think so. I think that any black person, especially a black man, that's still supporting Trump, I think that he has bigger problems in his politics. Because let's make something very clear here. This is not politics, okay? The same way Hitler used a democratic election to get power and to keep power, this is what Trump is trying to do. And the Republicans, I don't understand how in the hell you could have a party. Now get this. A lot of these Republicans, especially these guys over 35, 40, a lot of your senators or what have you, their dads, and in a few cases their moms, fought fascism in World War II, right? They also were part of fighting the Cold War and Russian dictatorship. Now we have a guy who was president and who wants to be president again, running around saying he loves dictators, especially Putin. And then after Putin, he'll love anybody that will give him money. And I don't understand how in the hell, because, you know, back then the Republicans were almost the same as Democrats to a large extent. They loved their country, right? They loved the idea of democracy and freedom. You were raised, talking to Republicans out there, you were raised, many of you, by people like that, especially if you're a boomer like myself, right? How in the hell can you follow a wannabe president again who overthrew or tried to overthrow our government and our way of life the first time he was president, and now this time he wants to be president again, and he's supporting a guy who calls himself a black Nazi, and that he thought Hitler was a swell guy, right? You know, I just, it's absolutely mind-blowing to me. A black Nazi, is he aware that we hung Nazis, the United States of America and Great Britain, as a matter of fact, all of the Western allies of World War II, we hung Nazis. But yet, Trump is going to support a guy that says he's a black Nazi. Has anyone informed this brother that the Nazis basically hated black folks as well as Jews? I wonder if this Mr. Robinson understands that. You know, maybe he should talk to some old vets. Black vets, white vets, doesn't make a difference, from World War II. Japanese American vets, right? Italian American vets, Irish American vets. Ask them what they found as they were marching through Western Europe when they came across the concentration camps and the gas ovens. Ask them what they felt coming across people wearing those pinstripe pajamas and as skinny as a broomstick. Ask those veterans what they thought of Nazis and the things that they said and did. I am so ashamed of blacks who still insist upon calling themselves Trump supporters. Notice I say Trump or Maga supporters. I say it like that because Trump is not a Republican. And those people out there in, I don't know, Utah, who show up to Trump rallies, or what's another good spot? Idaho, who show up to Trump rallies. Oh, I take Donald Trump's word over that of Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've heard these people say that. You know, when they got the microphone out there and they're talking to people online to go see Trump. I would like to ask them, what would their father, in many cases, what would their fathers have to say about that? These fathers that actually liberated the concentration camps, or really the death camps. And now you are supporting a guy, right? A 5-time draft dodger. Okay? You know who fought in Vietnam? Or who was in the military during Nam? Kids like me, out of the projects of Harlem and DC and Chi-Town and LA, kids out of Appalachia, right, for the most part. Those are the people that fought in Vietnam. The working class, for the most part. Every now and then you had a college type in your section or in your platoon. But generally, working class America fought in Vietnam. Now, don't get it twisted. Vietnam was a mistake. Jack Kennedy thought so. Bobby thought so. And if neither of these men had been assassinated, I guarantee you, they would have pulled our butts out of there, out of Vietnam, right? But what I'm talking about now, specifically, is the fact that when the country called, us kids out of the projects and us kids out of Appalachia, we answered our country's call, see? Now, something else I don't want to get twisted. A lot of people didn't feel that it was right, the war was right, and they refused to go. Muhammad Ali, for example. And they have my respect. Some people, they were conscientious objectors. They didn't think it was right to take a human life. They have my respect. Someone like Donald Trump he's entitled to no respect. Because if he didn't believe in the war, then he should have said, no, I'm not dealing with that crap. It's not for me. I think it's wrong. But he didn't even have the guts to do that. 5 times, this guy, with the help of his daddy, runs away. And now he bounces across the stage, grabbing the American flag like he's going to molest it. Right? Now, he's a good molester. Now, we know that. He's a convicted sexual molester. Right? But please don't hand me that, oh, Trump is a true patriot. What are you, stupid? Don't run away 5 times because your daddy paid the guy who had the misfortune to rent space in one of your buildings, and then you're going to come in my face and talk to me about patriotism? Oh, no. Don't tell my cousin, we lost him over there. So don't tell me about Vietnam, okay? Don't tell me that you are a patriot. Because you're just, you're a lying, stinking hypocrite. You, my friend, are a coward. Because you took a way out that didn't hurt you. You didn't have guts to say that this war is wrong. And you didn't have guts to serve your country when she called. So the word patriot should never pass your lips, pass through your damn lips. And I will tell you what Ben Franklin used to say. Patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. And Donald, that fits you to a T. Now, as far as Mr. Robinson, because I know he would be resentful if He heard me call him Brother Robinson. I laugh and I want to cry inside at the same time. Why? Because I grew up in two movements. I grew up in the Republican Party and I grew up in the Civil Rights Movement up here in New York. And to see this big black man hop around like a damn buffoon and saying things that truly hurt my country. And I think, how in the hell did this guy Robinson, why does he think he became governor, a lieutenant governor rather, of North Carolina? Why does he think he was able to do that? And then Trump has the nerve to say, yeah, well, Robinson is like Martin Luther King on steroids. I'm looking for the NAACP to, put out some kind of statement saying, and yes, I'm an NAACP member, and I'm looking for the executive offices, the top dogs in the NAACP, to put out some type of statement calling out Trump for saying that this guy is a Martin Luther King on steroids. I think it's humiliating. I think it's disrespectful, especially to the people that King gave his life for. And it shows a couple of things. It shows that Trump really has no respect for black people. And I know there are many black people now who are celebrities, people in the media. I hope that they are feeling embarrassed or ashamed that they ever hung out with Donald Trump, right? Because Donald Trump is a user. And while he was in the entertainment business, when he hung out with a black person, it was just an example of him using people for his own ends. And you notice he doesn't think too highly of Jewish people. And see, that's something else that I don't know if a lot of Americans understand this whole anti-Semitism crap. But see, anti-Semites like Trump and other people in this country, they have no problem. As a matter of fact, they're kind of gleeful when Israel bombs up or blows up Palestinians because they're Muslim. Now, I don't have, look, I'm not fond of any religion. I'm not a religious person. I went to Catholic school and public, but mostly Catholic school. I have my own personal spiritual beliefs, but I don't care for religion. No, not especially here in America. I know that there are good, decent, religious people in this country. But overall, I don't think religion, especially over the last 20 years, really hasn't done itself any favors in terms of trying to set a moral compass, quite frankly. I mean, if they were true, if Judeo-Christianity was true to what it says, I don't know, it'd probably be a better society, a kinder society. But I really haven't seen that in any, great amount. Just like I look at evangelicals who are Trump supporters, and I ask the question, I don't know, I grew up, altar boy, Sunday school, reading the Bible, and the King James Version is not that different from the version that Roman Catholics use. And I would say to evangelicals who support Trump, what Bible did you read? that tells you that it's good to support a guy like Trump. I'm not talking about your politics. Damn if you're a Republican. To hell with that. That's not the point. The point is that Trump is a walking catastrophe when it comes to morality. And we see that. We know that. The world knows that. So why would you say you're an evangelical and you're supporting Trump? Just because he says nice things to you, because he wants your vote. Now, my reading tells me that that's not what Jesus Christ was all about. And by the way, I don't hear too many evangelicals alluding to the Sermon on the Mount here. And I think that's part of your problem, see, because you're trying to talk out of two sides of your mouth. And that's damn difficult to do. But this guy says, I support the guy that says he's a black Nazi. I'm quite sure my Jewish brethren are very offended by that. I mean, I'm not trying to speak for anybody. I'm just, common sense. But see, the bigots here in America, as long as Israel over there across the water are blowing up Palestinians, Muslims, because they are the other. They are the dark people, right? And the Israelis there, they are the ones, the British accents, the Russian accents, the German accents, right? They are the good guys because they are killing brown people, okay? Or what is associated with brown. In America, Islam means dark. You're either African or you're Palestinian or you're some type of Arab, right? Now, that's one thing, okay? That's one can on the shelf. But the other can on the shelf is the fact that American Jews have done, in the last 150 years, generally speaking, I mean, no group is perfect, okay? You had a lot of different groups, unfortunately, involved, for example, in slavery. All right, we know that. But generally speaking, the American Jews, when it came time to end that filthy Jim Crow, I remember watching rabbis marching arm in arm with Martin Luther King. I remember when Jews were beaten and killed and homes and synagogues bombed because they publicly stood up and said, yeah, black people have the right to vote like any other American. So I know, overall, I know where American Jews are coming from. And see, that's why you have the whole anti-Semitic thing here in the United States. Because generally, as a group, American Judaism has stood up for the underdog. And your racists here in America can't stand that. Here, Trump. Well, if the Jews don't vote for me, then they're stupid. He's talking about American Jews. Who in the hell does he think he is to say that anyone who doesn't vote for him is stupid? And then he wants to take a situation that's not in America, but that has come to America because of world politics. And he wants to say, yeah, well, they go to those universities, and the professors teach them anti-Semitism. He's a goddamn liar. He is a damn liar, okay? Trump is an anti-Semite. I don't give a damn who his daughter's married to, okay? That's the first thing. Second thing, Trump is angry because of the fact that I guess he feels a lot of American Jews see him like Hitler. And they're right. Hell, even the guy who's running to be his vice president said the same damn thing a couple of years ago. Until he decided it's better to be asleep than to be woke. And so now, him and his master Trump, they're in bed together. But that's what this whole anti-Semitic thing is about. Now, as far as folks protesting and whatnot because of what's going on over in Gaza, okay, I have a problem with them. You have a right to be a Jew, to practice Judaism, to practice Islam, right? To practice smoking banana peels here in the United States of America. That's the first thing. Second thing, don't attack the Democratic Party, okay? Let's talk straight here. That's another problem that we have in this country. Too many people are talking lies and bullshit. You have a problem with the Democratic Party as if we command, okay, Prime Minister of Israel, what do they call him? Baby. All right, baby, stop. It doesn't work that way. Yes, we can apply a lot of pressure, but it's just, it's just not that simple, number one. Number two, you want to see a real bloodbath, and I know we've already lost about 40,000 Palestinian people, especially women and children. But if you really want to see, and that is horrible, it is wrong, okay? But I would tell Islamic Americans here, for God's sakes, you pray that Kamala Harris wins this election, because I guarantee you, she is not the one that will instigate World War III. It would be Donald Trump, because what Trump would do, he would give Bebe the green light, okay? Not just in Gaza, not just the West Bank. I'm talking about Lebanon. I'm talking about pure destabilization. And the first chance they get, they will attack Iran. Now, what do you think that's going to do for the cause of world peace? What do you think that's going to do for the cause that you are fighting for? I guarantee you, I don't want to see Trump get back in the White House for a bunch of reasons. And what would happen in the Middle East with him in the White House, that's one of them, right? Listen, a guy that says, listen, I don't like your religion, I don't like you, you can't come in my country. Now that's what Trump attempted to do. Now if you start, if you really start looking at this from, from Reality Street, do you seriously think that if you give, if you create so much of a disturbance that it will be like 68 for the Democrats? Remember what happened in 68? People just, went to Nixon because the rioting gave people the impression that Democrats were, nothing but chaos. It wasn't true then, and it's definitely not true now, but it's the perceptions, see? And if you push this violence in terms of demonstrations, hey man, all I can say is good luck to you, because Trump will tell Bebe, yeah, go ahead, and decimate them. Oh, he most certainly will. If the man's already told you that he thinks you're too dirty to come in his house, what can you expect out of a person like that? And then on top of that, Trump is the one that invites these anti-Semites, invites them into the White House, invites them to his personal home in Mar-a-Lago. I mean, come on, It really it doesn't take a genius to figure that one out. You have a right to protest for your cause. Your cause is to stop the slaughter of Palestinians in Gaza, potentially the West Bank, and what's going on in Lebanon. But do not think that Trump has any empathy whatsoever for your situation. I bring all that up because I don't, I'm so tired of people. They get things mixed up. In America, as I said, racist people, bigoted people, one of the reasons they hate Jews is because of the fact that the Jews stand up for the underdog. And you have people that don't like that in this country. That's why I say the same bigoted people that follow behind Trump are the same bigoted people that would love to see Muslim and Arabic people destroyed. I suggest that in America, we start thinking more, number one. And number two, develop a more honest type of empathy for our fellow human beings. See? But yeah, this business with Robinson. I mean, Jesus Christ, where in the hell? See, that's another thing about the Republican Party of today. Now you got, like, what's his name, Mike Steele, right? I dig that brother, and I understand exactly where he's coming from. He reminds me a lot of my dad. He reminds me of a time when the Republican Party had black men in the party. What we have now, any black person that you find now, and I'm not going to say because they are a Republican, but any black person who calls himself a Trump supporter, you really have some screws loose. You have a few screws loose. Now, I am curious, though, because over the last 10 years, you were starting to see black Republicans, people who either came from or their parents came directly from the Caribbean. Right? I'm just wondering, I wonder how they feel now that Trump has called them dog and cat eaters. Because, when you talk about Haiti, right, that's the Caribbean. Haiti, Dominican Republic, that's the Caribbean, pal. And, a lot of these folks came here and, they said, well, hell, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to follow the American dream. Well, welcome to the American nightmare. Because that party that you thought, there's a young lady, I can't think of her name. Oh, God, what does she represent? I think, was it Maryland? I think it might be Utah. I think she was a congresswoman from Utah. And was she born here? Either she was born here or her parents directly were from there. And she used to sing that stuff. I don't see her about lately. I hope she finally got the message. See. the Republican Party, the apparatus of the Republican Party, is a Trump apparatus. Okay, this is not the Republican message. And I think that's something that for some people that's really hard for them to understand. But Trump is no great Republican hero. He is his own hero in his own mind. So for black folks, as a matter of fact, for any other group, Jewish, black, Latino, Native American, if you thought that the Republican Party was your road to the American dream, I hope you finally got it through your head. Not this year. I've heard some Republicans mentioning the fact that, who was it, Cheney? Mentioning the fact that maybe we need to, they need to scrap the Republican Party and come with something else. And for the life of me, I don't understand Lindsey Graham. I really don't. Because, folks, when I'm saying, a lot of the things I'm saying, they're nothing new. Lindsey was saying this back in 2015. What did he say? He said that Trump was nothing but a bigot and a blowhard, and that if you give him a chance to lead this party, he will damage America and he will destroy the Republican Party, and we will have deserved it. Those ain't my words, folks. That's Lindsey Graham. The same Lindsey Graham that runs around now shining Trump's shoes. I don't get it. I really don't. Unless, I don't know if you've heard, I mean, it's all on this, right? Social media. But I understand that Lindsey is gay. Now, my attitude is, who cares? Quite frankly. But unfortunately, Lindsey being a senator from South Carolina, and you have such backward thinking in some of those red states, I don't know, maybe that's what frightens him, that, Trump was going to out him. I don't know. I really don't. But he called it. That's one time I used to respect him, believe it or not. I don't think I ever agreed with him on anything, but I did respect him as a Republican senator. But I don't know what the hell happened to him. Jesus Christ, you call a man like a venereal disease, and now you're licking his boots. I don't get that. I really don't. And maybe I shouldn't, but there's a certain part of me, I feel sad for Lindsey. I really do. When I see somebody, change like that, there's something wrong there. There's something that's not right. And that's just like with Trump's running mate, what's his name, Vance. Hell, I can't get over the fact that this guy was a Marine. He don't seem like no Marine I ever knew. And I've known plenty. But it's just weird. You call a guy Hitler, about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, he said that Trump was like a new Adolf Hitler on the scene. And then you become his running mate? I don't get that. I really don't. I mean, how you go from this guy was a Hitler and now I'm his running mate. And there's nothing like in between that. It's like guys who used to be skinheads, Nazis, and what have you, and now they fight for peace and integration and everything. They didn't just wake up, they didn't go to bed Sunday and wake up Monday and said, hey, I want to love my black brothers and sisters. they had to go through a certain amount of stages and understanding. Trump never did that in the last 5 years. So why are you going to be the vice president to Hitler? You know, see, a lot about this whole Trump phenomenon, a lot of it makes sense, but not all of it. There's some very strange going on. And I really hope that if we manage to get him off the political scene next month, I mean, you know, in November, I really hope that next year Congress has some kind of investigation. We used to have the House Un-American Activities Committee in Congress. Unfortunately, that was usually utilized by Southern racists to attack the civil rights movement. But I will say that if that committee is still functioning, there should be public hearings held on how the Russians basically were a large part of the Trump campaign and how the Republican Party went from being a Republican Party to a Nazi Party. Because I don't see how in the hell they're going to be able to reconstitute themselves. You know, even if I think they're done. Whether Trump wins or not, the Republican Party is over. If Trump wins, it's going to be Trumpism. It's not going to be a Republican Party. Every day they chase more and more real Republicans out of the party, or more and more real Republicans are just abandoning this Trump Republican Party. And if he loses, well, it's definitely over. How in the hell are you going to have a political party that, from what I've seen, they have basically become a fulcrum of hatred against over half of the American population. Actually, more than that when you think about it. They only want a certain type of so-called minorities. You have to be a certain kind of black, you have to be a certain kind of Jew, you have to be a certain kind of Latino, right? And just to remind my Latino brothers and sisters, when you hear these people talking about, oh, stop all immigration, it poisoned the blood. Hey, my man, they talking about you, okay? They are talking about you. Because what is their biggest beef? South people coming from south of the border. See? And it's, you know, a lot of it really is, you know, Trump could have been a real hero, but it's just inside, there's too much hate, there's too much sickness inside of him to be useful for anything in American politics. You know, he's too whacked out, he's too far gone. But for example, another example I should say, the whole fight about abortion, about choice. Listen, and I put this out for the black community as well, especially black men. Look, if you are against a woman and her right to choice, then you hate women. It's that simple. It's not difficult at all. It's that damn simple. You see what's happening all over the country. And this guy Robinson, I don't know if he went to school or not. I'm starting to have my doubts. But at least a high school graduate anyway. But women across, where they have these draconian anti-abortion laws. They are killing women. All right? White women, black women. You saw what happened in Georgia. And I can guarantee you there's a hell of a lot more going, a hell of a lot more deaths can be attributed in these red states to these crazy ass anti-abortion laws. Right? It also shows that you really don't know a damn thing about women. Most women who get abortions already have children. They're not anti-children. They already have children, number one. Number two, most of those abortions are for medical reasons. Don't screw with things that you don't understand. You know, this like, remember back like in these, when was that? The mid-70s, early 70s, and you had a car, and maybe something had to get fixed on that car. And what did you do? You had your boy come over, you know, the shade tree mechanic. I lived down in Virginia for a while, and right there in Richmond. And that's what you had. You had maybe your next door neighbor, or you know, a guy lived down the street, and he come by and okay, hold on a second, man. Let me see if I can fix some brakes for you. You know, I heard him squeaking too much. You know, or maybe let me set your timing, right? And then you take that car, and you go into where are we now? 2024, right? Or 2023. You got yourself a 2023. And you let that same shade tree mechanic, who, by the way, didn't go to like auto classes or anything to keep up with what's been going on in the automotive industry for the last, 20 years or so. And you let him go ahead underneath the hood and mess with your car. Well, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to have chaos. And that's exactly what's happening with this whole business about anti-choice legislation in the red states. These men, and I say men, because mostly it is male legislators in the state houses who also happen to be Republican and who are basically meddling with things. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They have no understanding. They only want to do what, I don't know, feels right to them, what hooks up with their moral compass, right? And as a result, you are putting women through death, through very painful situations. I mean, my God, I'll put it as if I was talking to my buddy down the street. You are basically causing women, in some cases, to become sterile, to lose their ability to procreate, so that when they want to have kids, they won't be able to. You are doing so much damage to their internal organism. And it's not right, quite frankly, it's not right. These are things that should be left to doctors, not preachers, not rabbis, not ministers, not imams, okay? Unless somebody is an imam and also has a medical degree, or someone is a priest and has a medical degree. They do, you know, you got that out there, okay? I've known guys they were Roman Catholic priests, but they were also doctors. And if you're fortunate enough to be in that situation, fine. Okay? But to take that away from, what do we say? A woman and her doctor. To take that choice away from those two, that's wrong, man. It's just, it's pathetic. It's like something out of the Dark Ages. And I would ask, I would ask Americans, is that what you want to go back to? The Dark Ages? And then on top of that, you're going to take people who are different from you, and you are going to associate them with all types of blood libel. You know where that term comes from? You might have heard a few politicians and people in the media use that term, blood libel. It comes from the Dark Ages. Okay, Dark Ages, Middle Ages. It comes from a time in Western Europe, excuse me. It comes from a time when they used to say, oh, well, the Jewish people kill Christian babies and drink their blood. That's why it's called blood libel. Now you're saying that dark people from the Caribbean will steal your cats and dogs and eat them here in America. Friends, come on, man. We're not, don't put us in the Dark Ages. Please, don't do that. And don't fall for the line about the economy. Kamala Harris has her and the coach have a far better notion about our economy than Trump ever did. And no, he came into an economy that was great and he mucked it up. Now, the facts speak for themselves, the numbers speak for themselves. And then not only did he muck up the economy, but he said there's no such thing as COVID. So, folks, we got the election coming up. Pay attention, right? Pay attention. And come on, we can't go back to the Dark Ages. America is better than that. Listen, y'all take care of each other. God bless. See you next time, same channel. Peace. Not bad.